Hello, good evening, and welcome back to the biggest stage that India has to offer at this point of time, which is going to be the Mythic Showdown Season 2, brought to you by War Drum Games. Nobody else except War Drum Games, of course. And with it, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be heading back into, of course, the Swiss stages, but tonight is a little bit different than the rest. It's going to be an elimination bracket. So far, we've been having those 1-0-0-1s brackets, but right now we're heading to the 0-2 bracket, which only means one thing. This is the elimination round. Here, it is going to be a best of three series between two teams, which is Daku Sena and Inheaven, who maybe they have been unfortunate, maybe they haven't been able to deliver it yet, but right now it's time for action because they're going to be in the elimination round. So let's witness it and be, of course, the voice of the game, myself, Ray, and joining me is going to be the beautiful Sarah on my right side. So, Sarah, welcome back. As of course, you're going to be really pleased to. I will mention that later, but it's going to be Daku Sena and Inheaven in a best of three. This is going to be the first BO3 series of the Swiss stages. How do you feel about it?
Excited, elated, enticed, any word you ever want me to say. This is definitely one of those games I have been looking forward to cast for practically the last 6-7 years. Like, the certain players will be playing today, and casting for them is an honor for me, honestly. So, of course, I am very excited and intrigued to be casting this one. This is going to be a game of new talents versus some OG Indian ML scene pro players coming back to the game suddenly. That too in the elimination round of the Swiss state, so that's a very surprising thing. New lineups, new changes, everything is going to be very interesting.
Absolutely right. I wished he showed up a little bit sooner, man, because, man, it's like waiting until we have a quote in our Assamese language, okay? It's like waiting until the day of a marriage to do something. Like, you don't do that, you know? So you gotta hurry up that. You gotta prepare before the marriage. Anyways, jokes aside though, we're gonna be, of course, as you can see on the screen, we're gonna be heading into the draft in few seconds. And once the draft phase begins, fates would be sealed for the first game, and it's gonna be creating the tempo. Whoever wins this first one, it's gonna be getting at least a little bit of advantage because they can try to get that sweep, but at the same time reverse sweeps are always a possibility. So let's I'm not gonna say that just be optimistic, but I'm looking for a good show because after all this is the first elimination, just like you mentioned, and there's a few faces that are gonna be appearing for the first time on the MOBA scene itself. And if you cannot pinpoint by the smile on Sarah's face, I think I don't want to be too hyper fixated because I feel like everybody is going to fixate on that. But anyways, the draft should be starting in right now, and I think if everything has gone right, we should be seeing that few faces. Are we?
Oh, okay. I'm gonna take a very deep breath. Yeah, okay, already. So definitely can see some very pretty faces in there. Good boy. Okay. DSO definitely has the first pick advantage, and which means that Inheaven does have the server advantage. So we'll have to see what those people play with their 30-40 MS in West Bengal server. But it's okay. Starting off with the draft phase already, the Lapu band coming in from the side of DS instantly, and Inheaven with the CC band. So two good choices so far, but DS needs to come down with a strategy. They need to play what they can do on towards their EXP lane today, my main focus. While Inheaven, they have a very strong jungle with the Onslaught and the Hayabusa. So those are two heroes which definitely need to be taken out by the side of DS.
Absolutely right, Sarah. And I'm sorry for ugly laughing tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It's just that I'm controlling a much bigger laughter, so I hope you don't mind that. I just want to say something like, we put him in the middle like bro's the main character, and so he sure is for tonight. But anyways, we will focus that on to later, I think, because I think we have ample enough time, at least 2 games in our hands. This is a best of 3, I will remind it again and again, and this is going to be the Broken Walls map. Some people like to go for the Grok in this one. Maybe they like to rebuild things, broken things, rebuilding. I think some people are fond of that. But anyways, Sarah, I don't blame you for focusing on the EXP lane because it is the EXP meta. No other reason, no other specific reason right
Absolutely
there.
Absolutely not. And like we said, oh yes, it's the Lancelot band. I taught them well. I am a good teacher. But okay, as we can see the Kimi and the Lancelot getting taken out, and as you mentioned, the Grok gone, of course. It's a broken wall, you don't want to give away the Grok, and Jazz is the one on roam tonight, so I have seen him playing the roam and it is pretty downable on towards the roam. So for the last ban of Inheaven though, what can they go in for? Maybe something from the mid lane to be taken away from them? Instantly it is the Lunox which gets taken down.
If you think she knows a little bit too much about Daku Sena, she just proves she knows about the other team as well. You know, she's not biased, guys, in any way. She's equal. She's a good analyst, right? I mean, analyst. So on the one side, though, the Kalia will get picked up, which is obviously going to be today. Jazz is going to be shifted to the roaming position to accommodate someone, right? So on the other side, we're going to be getting Inheaven, picking up that Alice. Like it's like I don't know. It's just another. I know it's Monday, I want to make the joke that it's the Tuesday, but the Alice has been proven to be one of the strong contenders, so let's see.
And it's the Alice with the Gadot Kacha, so Team DS definitely needs to pick up on something, you know. They need the Esmeralda. Oh, it's going to be the Esmeralda onto the EXP. Good choice. And honestly, with the Kalia pick onto the roam, will they go in for a Guinevere onto their jungle? Like the Tsunami Slam and the Violet Requiem combo is just something so broken and foolproof. Of course, that works out. And Peter definitely locks in onto the Eve once again, just exactly how I taught them. All that's left is for Funny to go in for a proper damage dealer onto the goal lane. He could go in for the Granger here, very good spacing because of the Eve, the Kalia, the Esmeralda. While Ryu could, of course, go in for the Hayabusa still if he likes to, unless it's banned out onto the second phase. But other than that, he does also have the Fredrin and the Guinevere into his hero pool this time around, since the enemy does have two very sustainable and tanky meta heroes right there.
Yes, I'm just trying to do some analysis on my end as well. But anyways, it's going to be, just like you mentioned, this Esmeralda can be shifted into the goal lane, I believe, just like you mentioned. But, you know, lately we've been seeing a lot of Eve players show really great potential positioning. And Hui's Peter, I'm going to be honest, his last match with Eve went a little bit rough because I think he played against 3 dive-in heroes, which was like, I think that was really a bad decision to play Eve against 3 diving. Even right now, I do see 2 dive-in heroes. So, to be fair, these 2 heroes, they can be dodged out really easier, you know. So, maybe he'll be able to escape from the first skill of the Alice, and the AOG, I think it's a little bit more manageable for you. I don't think Xborg's ultimate is going to be an issue unless this is a rare side of the Xborg goal lane that does show up time to time.
I mean, it would work out if the Xborg does decide to go in for the goal lane, but judging from the player who's playing it right now, maybe he's going to lock in for the jungle. So, a jungle Xborg can be countered with a proper assassin who can burst down the Furagama, so I am hoping for the Hayabusa on towards the... However, Inheaven, they have a very sustained based comp, so DS will need to look for a very good DPS shredder on for their goal lane. Possibly the Harriet, the Granger, maybe even the carry as a pocket pick, unless they decide to go in for some kind of a bruiser. It's going to be very difficult for them.
Let's wait out and see, because Inheaven also have a substitute today, and because of that he's like a little bit blank. So, you know, maybe they were trying to equalize the playground with DS. So let's just see what picks they will go for, because he's still yet to pick up the mid lane. Until then, though, both of the teams, just like I mentioned, the mid lane is, you know, still vacant. So I think what is open? One more ban left, right? I don't think Farsa is a viable option. I think she'll get easily picked off. Very stationary. What can they go for? A Kadita? For more dive-in?
Maybe, just maybe. However, the Kadita against the Eve and everything though, is it really gonna work out? But Inheaven, they instantly lock in onto the Granger for their goal lane, so Funny Valentine here will have full and free access to the Harith gold lane, which is one of his very potential and signature heroes. So that's going to be interesting bit, I would say. But on the hands of DS though, they still need their jungler. What are exactly they planning to pick up? They can't really go in for the Fredrin since there's an X-Bob and an Alice to just out-sustain a Fredrin. So, is it gonna be a Guinevere? Maybe, maybe not. It's still possible though, just a hunch. But oh, it's a Nathan onto the gold lane, good choice. And Shin onto the jungle. Oh, fine choices right there. But the Kadita does come in, like you mentioned, Ray. So it's a very comfort pick versus comfort pick kind of draft here.
Comfort pick. Funny Valentine showing up this Nathan in a, I would say, I was honestly expecting the Esmeralda to be shifted into the gold, but considering, yeah, there's a Granger, maybe it is just better to really go with the Nathan itself to contend with the late game damage that's going to be showing up from the side of Inheaven. Not to mention, even the Alice is one of the really strong late game contenders. So I think going for the Nathan was a really good choice over here. But with it, the draft is done. We're going to be looking at the spells. It's mostly going to be, look at that. It's mostly going to be Flickers, one Vengeance. Wow, he really wants to.
What?
He really wants to. Okay.
I'm just gonna okay my way through this. It's fine. It's fine, Chan. He can still do it. It's okay. On the hands of Inheaven though, Petrify, Revitalize, Purify onto the Granger, which means that the Yusenshin will have an easier time killing the Granger, okay. But the Alice with the Flicker. Alright, interesting. So it's like Vengeance sustain versus Alice sustain all at once. So we'll see who wins that one out. AOG plus Rough Waves definitely good combination. But then again, Tsunami Slam plus the real world manipulation all together. It would work out, I would say, if they can really sync what they have. So, good draft by both teams, but still early advantage definitely in the hands of Inheaven. Yusenshin plus Nathan, that's two scaling heroes along with the Eve into the hands of DS, so they are going to have to take it very slow.
And I think if they play a safe game, this is going to be a DS, like Daku Sena game all the way. Granger can try to stack up as much as possible, but one of the things that most marksmen, not goal laner guys, we are shifting towards the fighter goal laner, but most marksmen, they cannot contend with the Grangers because of the fact that he's a magic damage based dealer. So because of that, no Wind of Nature can save you. Rose Gold might buy you some time, but Nathan's Entropy has a really low cooldown, and because of that, I think, they can, what is it again? Late game basically, it's much more advantageous. Anyways, we'll jump into the game anytime soon. Until then, I think we can talk about the draft a little bit more, and I think the highlights should be kept for later on because I'm waiting for Sarah to do the G word. I mean, just kidding. I think she would have. G means, guys, giving. She's going to be giving really good play-by-play. Yeah, but
it's all right.
It's like she's about to burst with exponential amount of energy from inside. I can just feel it. She mentioned it herself, guys. It's not me who's trying to, put some things into it. She has been waiting 6 to 7 years for this moment. When you're waiting for so long, energy gets built up inside of you, and it's just waiting to burst out like a volcano. And tonight, she can burst all of that out, right? And I think we'll see it in action, obviously. We're just going to wait out for a while. Just going to make sure the players are having no issues with the servers and anything because they are playing with, conflicting servers. But anyways, 1 second. Let me just quickly change something, I guess. Sarah, obviously take care of it.
Oh, it's okay. And the thing is, a little bit of issue here and there. Possibly just a little bit of back-end issue, I believe. So we're gonna get that fixed, troubleshooting on the way, ladies and gentlemen. And while that's going on, we can see definitely that the drafts look pretty good. I know I'm supposed to yap, so I'm gonna yap. Drafts are good, definitely. What do we say? Sorry. DS has the better late game advantage because of the Nathan as well as the Yusenshin into their hands. Eve also insane late game damage potential with the Wishing Lantern into her hands. While, as we can see, what do we call it? Team Inheaven is more of an early based hero, and once the Yeep has the Wishing Lantern, the Alice, the X-Borg, both of their armors are gonna get melted very easily. The only thing that has to be watched out for is the Throne of Ruin, which is gonna come in every time and try to mark down the Yeep, as well as the Nathan. So, of course, the Nathan would have to position himself well. If the Alice picks up the Justice Pauldron plus the dominant size plus the blade armor, he's gonna be in a big issue right there because his attack speed is going to be reduced to literally what? Capped at 75%. So, of course, we are gonna find a lot of issues right here and there. However, with that, while the issues are being fixed, I believe that we can just, wait for the teams. And while the countdown is going on, I'll hope that we can take a short 1 or 2 minutes break. We'll just be right back while the issues are fixed.
Anyways, we have news to share. So sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. A little issue was found. I just want to announce that in Heaven they had maybe most likely a shortage of players tonight, and because of that they had to bring in a substitute at the last moment. And once since you bring in the last moment, it becomes an unregistered player. Since this is against the very rules of esports, you cannot bring in an unregistered player in the last moments without a further notice. They did not update the officials on time. Because of that, according to those rules, they will be disqualified from the tournament. I mean, in a way, they were about to be forfeited from this match, but since this is the elimination round, getting forfeiture on this game automatically will eliminate them out. So Inheaven, unfortunately, their journey ends here tonight. It is unfortunate, but it's okay. They're still, looks like they're still an aspiring new team, and they made a mistake of not being able to keep up to date to the professional standards. We're wishing them the best, and I hope they can move ahead in their esports journey, and in future tournaments, maybe they can climb even higher achievements. Wishing you the best Inheaven, and Daku Sena on default will get the win at 2-0, and they will be moving to that 1-2 brackets, still fighting. Tonight they didn't fight, but their fights are going to be even heavier because, of course, in the newer brackets, there is still more teams to play, like SATUL, like Noctura, and all those teams. They're still going to be fighting in that 1-2 as well. So if you're excited for that, make sure you stay tuned. We'll start the next match on our scheduled time, which is going to be the 8 p.m. Until then, you can stick around on the stream. But that is all for me. Sarah obviously wants to say a few things, of course, because I mean we were here to cast tonight, but we didn't get a chance. So I think Sarah should share a few words.
I mean, all I want to say is that the moment, the power couple moment happens for the side of Team DS, they kind of get a bye. They don't even have to play a match. But it's
Crazy.
okay. That vengeance, very sketchy, Dave. If you're seeing this, don't pick vengeance on Esmeralda again. It's fine. Until next time, DS, all the best. Congratulations for moving to the 1-2 bracket. We'll see you next time.
Stick around till 8 p.m. Hello.
Do you think I'm crazy? I've done all this before. Oh, wait, I'm white. Wait, what happened? I thought I was supposed to be in color. I was supposed to be happy, but hey, so what? I've been brought back from the 1900s and for this Mythic Showdown Season 2 because this is that important. You know, I cannot be sleeping all this while, and you guys. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we welcome you back to the Mythic Showdown Season 2, presented to you by War Drum Games and Devo. You know, this is so important, right? The 2-0 bracket almost on the verge of being eliminated. These two teams, Rayuga Esports and Yama Esports, are really battling the deaths right now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely, right? 0-2 bracket is the best of 3, so you do get 2 chances to get back into the Mythic Showdown, right? Have the contest for the top spot. But it's also a really crucial point for the side of both the teams as they are quite into the bottom of the current ladder as of now, so they're gonna be trying it really hard, so it's gonna be a really intense match for both of them.
Yep, you know, good news and bad news both awaits us. Good news would be that one team will be making it to the next round. The bad news will be one will get eliminated from here. It could be either Rayuga Esports or Yama Esports, but for good news, you know, stored in for us, Zebo, we have actually reached the 5,000 subscriber. 5,000, you heard me right, 5,000, ladies and gentlemen. And we all owe it to you guys. Like, without you guys, we are nothing. Without you guys, War Drum is nothing. So, a huge shout out to each and every one of the subscribers. And if you have not subscribed yet, hey, this is your time to shine. Isn't it, Zevo?
Yep, definitely. You would not want to miss out on this exciting series. So, of course, stay tuned to watch how this Mythic Showdown unfolds, right? And we're gonna be with you throughout the whole matches as well.
Yep. And never forget to mention one thing, you know, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a special giveaway for this milestone, of course. So do keep an eye on our Discord, on our YouTube, and each and every place that you can actually find this online, I mean, active, right? Because your activeness makes sure so that you can actually win those giveaways. And who would like to win the giveaways? If you guys don't, then hey, you can always call me. I mean, I'm take some free dice. You never know. So hey, dice has to wait. The game will not. So we'll soon head into the game. Just 45 seconds await. But hey, both the teams have some really good lineups, I would say, in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the in terms of the synergy. I think Yama Esports, they are yet to find it with the change into the jungle, into the goal lane, right? Seen them trying new things out, but it's still a long way for them to actually just, you know, figure it out, I would say. Rayuga Esports, they have been consistent, but I'm kind of surprised how they actually found themselves to this bottom tier of the Mythic Showdown.
Yeah, honestly, I expected a bit more, bit more from Rayuga Esports, right? And Yama Esports as well, with the change in the jungler, I kind of expected them to be a bit more better as well. But I
Yeah.
guess it's just that they are having a bit of trouble with adjusting to the new rotation as well, or maybe they're trying new things out. So of course, I love the current lineup of both the teams, and these are quite the well-known teams as well. So it's gonna be a really hard-on, tough battle for both sides.
Absolutely, and I think Yama Esports, they're really keening on to actually go for the hyper carry marksman. I mean, not the marksman, but the hyper carry jungler. My bad. So jungler. So they are actually leaving out the goal lane to be a fighter. They're focusing more onto the double fighter meta, making Toby play on the heroes, which he would not really play all the time. I think this is a very new heroes that we are looking on towards Toby. Because of that, I don't know how comfortable he is, but he's consistent to the limit, to the point I would say that he's not really losing his lane hard. He's able to win out those laning phases, as well as give the team the requirement onto the goal lane that needs to be there. But I think we would want to see Toby on towards the marksman a lot more than the fighters currently, because it's not giving him the chance to actually shine so much that he used to do in his previous team, that was Soul.
Yep, honestly, the change in meta, right? I think it's getting to him a bit. He's more comfortable with having the range onto himself rather than close range altogether. So I think the team could make that up with a bit more aggression onto their side and give Toby a bit more, relaxing time At least that's what I think they should be doing. But looking at the drops right now, I like that Rayuga Esports, they have gone for the target ban onto Raren out here.
Yeah.
Fredrin and Baxia, right? Baxia, we can understand he gets onto the ban list quite a lot. But that Fredrin is definitely something that they respect out of Raren.
I totally agree with you on that. I feel for Raren, you cannot give him those utilities, but at the same time, he has been, going towards those since as well as the marksmans too. Sometimes we have seen the YSs out of him. We have sometimes even seen the Lancelot out of him, I believe. So these heroes can work too. Same time, the Hayabusa Lancelot both being banned off for Chocolate Chan. He'll not get his heroes that he's really comfortable on, just to pick up the Kimi onto the mid lane. And I'll just compare the Kimi to the users that have been the most destructive or most strongest in this in this tournament so far. I think Bit is one of those members that you can actually highlight, who has been so consistent with his Kimi performance. Like the way he plays around is like he have 4 frontliners and the Kimi is the sole damage dealer. For Sacred Shrine, it works so well, isn't it?
Yep, definitely they have perfected the art of giving, Bit the spotlight onto their side. So of course, but for Yama, I think it might be a bit different. They would wanna divide the whole load onto their shoulders altogether, 1 role per member each. But I like that they picked up the Yishin Shin altogether. So the jungling is gonna be fast anyway, a little bit lacking on that damage as well, but the backline will be covered up by the Yuzhong, which is kind of a threat for Kimi out here. But there's also a Grok and a Lapu, so they're kind of going for that tanky frontline composition.
Absolutely, I think it's just going for the front to back altogether from the previous meta. Except we do not know if the Lapu will be a goal lane or an XP laner. So that's just the uncertainty we have in this draft. But again, Rayuga Esports, they're doing a very good job by securing the YSS, denying it to Raren. And even the Black Dragon is a good counter towards the YSS, I would say. So picking it up along with that, I think is a very good option. With that, they're also going for the Eve, which is one of the station heroes that cannot actually move too much while using the RWM. But at the same time, the damage that you actually get out of this hero is really, really very high. It can even melt down those tanky frontliners. They have a really hard time moving around because the slowdown, the damage, the burn is so high on this hero, the more your HP would be. So I think for that, early to late game slot, I think the side of Rayuga Esports, they have covered it pretty well. Right now, the main requirement for them would be getting some more frontliners with this draft. I think the Ruby could be a very decent option onto the goal lane. The CC being banned, I think that's the next best option, unless and until they want to go for the marksman, which will really divert the resources a lot more.
Or they can go for the Esmeralda, given that there is a Lapu altogether, right? She can reflex around with Yuzhong as well onto either the gold or the EXP, looking at how Lapu is gonna be going, right? So for Yama, I think they can ban out the Esmeralda. She poses a really huge threat for their side as well, but they're gonna be banning out the Granger, so they won't be giving Toby the comfort for his side.
Yeah.
So another, I guess Yama is kind of forced to go on to the fighter into the front line for the gold once again. Though they still have Raren out here, he could go for maybe a pocket pick like the Lucas. It's still viable for him, or if he wants to go for assassin, there is still the Lancelot that is open. So
no, the Lancelot is banned here, Zewo. The Lancelot is banned. They cannot actually go for
really?
that. So
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think, I've not seen Raren onto a Joy. What do you think about that?
Raren on the Joy, he does use it, but the thing is, it's not technically his comfort, and I think in this
Yeah.
case he could be getting interrupted quite a lot, so they would not want to go for that, right? But
Yep.
Esmeralda gets picked up though from the side of Rayuga Esports.
It's a very decent hero again, and again going against the Lapu, it still works really well. But the point is, this Esmeralda has to go to the goal lane, right? It cannot go to the EXP because they already have the Black Dragon, the Yuzhong onto their side. So it's most probably going to be a goal lane Esmeralda. But at this point, this can stop Yama Esports from picking up the I would say apart from that, I think even the Khalid, but what can actually work here? If they want to go for a marksman here, then they have a lot of options. Oh my goodness!
Okay.
The
Okay.
Nolan! I was not expecting that when I was talking about a but hey, this is really something new I'm looking at.
Okay. Interestingly enough, I have seen Raren mention the Nolan a bit, but I think that is kind of a debut pick for this
Yes.
tournament, right?
Yep.
But let's take a look at how Nolan could work out here. Of course, he does have a lot of bursts. He can definitely mark down Wises and Yeep. Till the mid game, he should be able to almost burst every one of them down. But I think it would be hard for him to one shot when it reaches the kind of the late game mark. So looking at the composition of Yama, it's kind of early game oriented, but Rayuga Esports, they do have the late game security for their side as well. So two different type of drafts altogether. In the end, it's gonna be the execution that's gonna be mattering.
Yep. I mean, looking at the draft, I still think it's a very high risk, high reward coming in from the set of Yama Esports, whereas Rayuga is they're going for the most stable one. They are not really trying to just, go for something really crazy out of the picture, but they're going for a very much stability out here. If we talk about the battle spells, there's nothing too different that we're looking at. The Esmeralda will opt for the Purify, the Black Dragon with the Petrify, some things that we are already used to. The Esmeralda could have also opted for the Sprint, I would say, but again, just for the safety, they're going for the Purify here.
Yep.
But apart from that, anything crazy for your end?
They got Grog and the Arla together, so the Purify on Esmeralda is definitely justified. You wouldn't want to get caught between those final slashes and those tech charge altogether, especially when you're frontline. You would want to be moving around here and there, providing all those shields and dealing all those damages. So the Purify kind of works out.
Yeah, I mean, the tech charge would be the problem, and sometimes even the handshaker from the previous fighter of this Lapu Lapu. But again, we'll see how it turns out as, ladies and gentlemen, we head into the land of Dawn for the game number 1 in the second match between Yama Esports taking on against Rayuga Esports for this Battle of the Survivals. This is the very last stretch both these teams are. And from here, the only gateway is either going up or out. So let's see how it spans out. Onto the caster decks, I'm going to be voice of the game, Shinryu, and I'm joined by Zebu for this game. So the early game mid duo is going to be very important, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, the early game is going to be really important for both the sides. Looking at the emblem priority as well, nothing much out of the ordinary, just a bit more movement speed for Kimi with those wilderness blessing and that agility in his hands as well, right? So it gives them more a faster rotation for the Grok as well. So I like that both the roamer and the mage would be rotating up all together at all times, which is a really huge way of having control throughout the whole map as of now. But bottom lane though, it's an Arlot into the gold lane against an Esmeralda, so a little less threat for Lapu Lapu, who's currently facing Yuzhong out.
I still think the early game Yuzhong does win out the lane until and unless Lapu Lapu reaches that level 4, he has to play passive. The Yuzhong on the other end forces lane pretty much a lot well because of the Shah residue that you can actually use to just heal back up. And this pressure will always keep Dark on towards the passive side. But at the same time, this is a dangerous grass map. It's gonna be a problem because if you do not secure the vision around the grasses, it's gonna create a lot of opportunities for the teams. And as you can see already, bit of HP being chunked down from Abistizi right before the turtle, and at the same time, a 1v1 onto the top lane is inevitable with, the Black Dragon. Vishal wants to just secure the winning lane at level 4 at the same time. Oh my goodness! Just turtle like, hey, it's just his everyday's work. What was that?
Wait, what was that actually? It was not even a retry battle as well. Obviously, they just went and casually took the turtle out.
Yeah.
First one is not popped out yet. I think both the teams are still baffled right now, right? How they got it out. But still, a win for Yama Esports, giving them a little bit of that lead, but still a bit cheesy. He is going to be playing a bit
Oh.
aggressive. Still, though, first blood into the hands of Yama. So that is one more plus point for the side.
Absolutely, but again, the bot lane might not be the best lane for Toby to go against. He's using the final slash to survive for a little bit longer play. But how long is it going to be the question? Ray comes from behind, takes down Toby, and with this, one member down. But can Ray find an escape? I don't think so. While I the one picking up that kill, so a kill for a kill. Still, Yama Esports do have that answer back that they're looking for in the early game.
Yep. Really great start off in the early game, and a really great wall placement from Abyss TZ as well. Not letting the Hilda have her way around throughout the whole map, given that she is quite aggressive. And given that the map is also dangerous grass, they kind of need to be careful of Ray on that Hilda as well. So a really great start for the side of Yama Esports. But then again, Rayuga Esports, they do have the advantage from the mid to late game as well. So they would want to be wanting to end the game a bit early. But looking at the level ranking as well, right? Dark on level 7, Eevee as well. So he does have that level lead onto their hands as well. Turtle gonna be spawning, but Toby.
Once again in trouble. He's using the final slash, but it's against 4-member. Not in his luck today. He has to fall right before the turtle. And that's 1 member down, meaning the priority would be onto the side of Team Rayuga Esports. They're waiting there, but hesitant. They know they do not have the vision on towards the member. Wiley will be the one with the poke, but at the same time, Ray's getting a bit of chunk of damage. At the same time, you can see the turtle will start. And the teams are already present. Vishal with the Black Dragon from trying to go for the zoning, but who's behind the turtle? Chocolate with the retribution, but again, goes there.
Oh my goodness, we get an RDM again. Chocolate Chan, look at that. In hands of Viol falling down. But still, the fight is going on. Final slash come in from Arlo. Toby gets his hands on Ray. And still Kevin Nader getting a double kill in his hands. Rayuga Esports, they did win out the turtle, but they lost out on the farm once again.
Atop though, Eevee doing all the pushing that is required in this game. Still waiting. Still, oh my god. He was like, I don't require the minions at this point. Even without the minions, like he was like, hey, I'm gonna push this turret. But again, despite losing the turtle, but bot lane, final slash being used up onto a Spicy. He's still surviving, goes in with the Starfall. But can he clear the waves? Yes, he can. But you know, even despite losing the neutral objective, Yama Esports found a trade. So this is still pretty much, I would say, an equal game. But Eevee in trouble though.
Oh my goodness, that is a lot of HP chunked down, right? He was not able to escape, but Abyss TZ out here. Maybe trying to go for something, but he does not have the backup. Now he has the backup. Dark is there with the bravest fighter once again. Kevin Nader getting taken down. Toby getting the killing spree out onto Ray. Vishal caught really low as well. The dragon is not going to be soaring around because he's getting taken down. And they get a turret in their hands as well.
Absolutely, and that's more map control going into the hands of Team Yama Esports. With the mid lane already down, they can really put the pressure into the jungle. With this game already, you know, spanning to the 6-minute mark, we'll soon head into the mid to late game, meaning the power spike can be just reached from the side of Team Rayuga Esports to try and punish the members. But again, see, the farm is not really enough. Yama Esports have already secured themselves a 3.5k goal lead, meaning that they can have that advantage when it comes down to those, you know, even 5v5 fight, even those, you know, skirmishes that will take place right as this turtle spawn. Both the teams would want to go for the setup, but I think Yama Esports will have the advantage with Chocolate Chan being on the top lane. There will be no contention for this one. At the same time, Yama Esports are more keen on pushing the lanes, but again, and Wade coming to the buff, they want to go for a fight here. Abyss TZ might be in trouble, but no, they do not want to pursue it further. But Spicy though.
Bottom lane, final slash on Spicy gets taken out in the hands of Eevee, finally getting one kill in the hands. And Nolan is kind of working out for their side, especially when he is trying to get that final hit onto the side of Rayuga Esports. So altogether, they are quite low on the economy as well, so they're not going to be contesting for much of the neutral objectives. But out here, Chocolate Chan immuning the bravest fighter, but no, Abyss TZ would be taking him down, followed up by Ray getting chased down, final slash onto Vishal, gets immobilized. Keep Viol taking a killing spree, but look at that, Esmeralda jumping in as well, but he would be getting away. Ray as well getting followed up in the hands, but no double kill. Spicy getting a hands on Abyss TZ as well. So quite the trade, but still won by Yama Esports. Oh, Eevee trying to go in. He definitely does. It takes down Kevinator and gets out safe and sound.
Absolutely, and with this, Yama Esports, they're just furthering the lead. Having that great conversion rate, they can also push those turrets. Second tier falling onto the bot lane means that they have a very good control in this game, and that looking completely throughout the game, because you can see the lead is just furthering and furthering. And soon enough, it might just reach the point where it's gonna hurt even to the front line a lot more. Right now, Spicy as well as the rest of the game can sustain lane.
Take charge on 2 people, 3 people, but that is unstoppable in hands of Kimi. Viol definitely getting the upper hand in this match, getting a double kill out here. Gets a triple kill out for blood for Kevinator, but Chocolate Chan caught low again. He is forced to use up his Mountain Joker. Abyss TZ, look at that, conceal, trying to go after Chocolate Chan. Gets the AoE, but Abyss TZ would be getting taken down. Too much aggression from his side. Eevee maybe trying to go after. He gets that killing spree and gets out safe and sound once again.
Oh, it's like so aggressive even from Abyss TZ, who is onto a grog, but he's playing like an assassin at this point, right? He was so good with stealing the turtle, and right now he's just feeding this in his bones, in his skin, that he wants to put the pressure more towards Chocolate Chan, but right now Kevinator might be in trouble. Ray wants to go for the front lining, but can he get out? I think so, he can, because he has that mobility, right? But at the same time, Rayuga Esports are on the receiving end. The goal is soon going to be 8,000 apart from both these teams. So the economy is going to be hurting. As you can see already, Spicy as well as Ray, they're not really able to sustain the damage that is being dished out from the side of Team Yama Esports. And for Wile having 7, 0 and 5, Cream KD already.
Yeah. Honestly, for the side of Rayuga Esports, they can't really go for the contest anymore because Yama, they have too much lead into their hands. The only thing that they can do is play defensively and watch out for all their turns, especially the inhibitor, which is going to be helping them get back into the game. So, of course, rather than going for the contest, they would just wanna wait it out for Yama Esports to start making some mistakes. But the question is, Yama Esports, if they go on more aggressive, then maybe they might have to fall out. But looking at the itemization as well, blade armor secured by Hilda, so the Kimi and her beams are not gonna be hurting as much as she is hurting herself, which is kind of a good choice for their side. But we do see dominance eyes in the making as well for all the frontliners, right?
Absolutely. I think the dominance ice will help a little, but final slash in. Impulse.
Tech charge, oh my goodness. Tech charge, though, legendary secured by Viol once again, followed up. The inhibitor is quite out. Holy shield not popped yet, and right now it would be for the mid lane. So, Lord's gonna be marching in front of the bottom lane as well. Ray forced to get back. One person down for the side of Rayuga Esports. One less person to defend the Lord that is coming in. Waldo, Abyss Cheesy. We get a Mountain Shocker Dark coming in onto the back line. But look at the final slash coming in though. Kevinator will be taken down, followed up by Ray, which committed too much on, and Eevee would be getting the Mega in his hands, followed up by Mountain Shocker. Lord is in the base, but it won't have much impact except for taking one of the inhibitors down, which is a loss for the side of Rayuga Esports. Still the Toby missing out on his final slash. Rayuga Esports having a little bit of that breather, but for how long? Because they are still trying to go for more. Spicy, look at that D, getting a lot damage dished out by Viol, getting a legendary 906 of KDA in his hands and one inhibitor remaining for their side.
Absolutely, but a concealed play coming through from the side of Team Rayuga Esports. Are they going for more here?
Yep, definitely going for more. RWM getting popped out. Toby finally gets a shutdown. At least one trade from the side of Rayuga Esports. Still, they would not be committing a lot more than this.
It's like so much fights, and at the same time, I think Yama Esports, they have found themselves the way to go and break the inhibitors from the side of Team Rayuga Esports. Will put the pressure more so because one, there could be a potential backdoor. Second, they have to constantly clear out the minions. But Eevee, oh my goodness, the damage was so much, almost nearly enough to take down Vishal there. But he still survives because he's the Black Dragon after all. Same time, I think they were able to take away the purple buff, or no? Was it secured?
It was secured by Oasis from Chocolate
Mm,
Chan. So they were not able to, but that is a tech charge missed out by Abyss TZ followed up. Chocolate Chan is getting chased out quite a lot, but Legendary, it has a Viol once again. That guy is just too much dealing damage out altogether. But Ray getting caught up. Evie, perfect positioning out there. Are three people. Final slash coming from Toby, followed up by Abyss TZ. Definitely Yama Esports being a lot aggressive now, trying to maybe go for the base before the Lord can even, but look at that. Once again, right
Oh,
into the fountain, Vishal getting his HP chunk down, monster kill secured, Toby getting taken down, as well as the Nexus for the side of Rayuga Esports.
yeah, and that will be the game for the side of Team Yama Esports, winning it out the first game in this best of three series. Quite a match, quite a dominance coming up for the first game itself. And we were talking about a very risky draft from them, but they executed it perfectly fine, right? They were so aggressive, and every time they played as a five. They were always going in together. They were always around the area where they can actually, help each other out. But that was a smash. But I would say I was, telling that Bid is so dangerous onto the Kimi, but why they proved me wrong? He's equally dangerous.
I think he heard you. He heard you and he just wanted to prove you wrong. So of course we get it here. But that Kimi is just too much of a threat for the side of any who is facing Kimi, right? Once you get that early game snowball, it's really hard to catch up with her. And not to mention, Wysis was nowhere near that Kimi because of all the front lines and the aggression coming in from Yama Esports. And they were just not able to even get a hands on that Kimi, right? 1008 KDA while he's dishing out all those damages with his range from the backline. The front line was just getting melted for the side of Rayuga Esports.
Absolutely, and even though we did not see so much of a kill pressure from EV, it's going to be Rarin, but still, I think they did a very good job in helping him secure his farm, secure those objectives, and more so, I think they were able to buy him enough time to actually even stop the farm for Chocolate Chan, because if Chocolate Chan had gotten free farm in this game, if he was just scaling and scaling and scaling, that could have been the problem, because we did talk about it in the draft as well, right? This is a scaling lineup from the side of Team Rayuga Esports, and good fact that they did not get the scaling quite early on, therefore they were under the pressure. But despite that, I think they did a very good job.
Yeah, definitely they were, at least trying their best to keep up with the aggression of Yama Esports that they were dishing out. But I kind of feel like they were lacking a bit into the early. They have a Hilda, but their aggression was not there much compared to being with Wasis as well. So the Kimi, if she had been, marked down and taken on in the early game, it could have been a bit better. But as of now, that head-to-head battle, Arlot and Esmeralda, I think we can just see how the scaling is for both the teams. Rayuga Sports definitely were underperforming, but it's still a best of three, so they can still have a comeback into the second match. But that is also a match point for their side, so they have to be really careful and win it out at the draft for the second game.
Absolutely, I agree with you on that. I feel the draft is going to be very important, because you could see it all started with Abyss TZ stealing out the turtle, right? That's where Rayuga Esports were having the pressure built up. They were not really anticipating that, and from there, Abyss TZ got into their head. They were always constantly worried about him. Where will he come from? Where will he put the pressure? And because of that, they had to, divert a lot of resource, forgetting whom they need to mark in that game. I think YLA was one of those members that they need to keep in check. And even at some point, EV could have been the problem, because he was freely farming. And a freely farming assassin is not somebody you want to mess against with. But at the same time, you see the rich guy, right? He was free farming. The carry would be Kevenator, but it was not enough for his team to actually get through this game. For Sandbag, it's gonna be spicy, but despite getting those tags, I think Rayuga Esports, they just fell a bit short for the game number one.
Honestly, I thought the sandbag would be someone in the wrong position, but the EV. I would say his farm, right? I did not expect that Dolan to work it out that much, but I think
Yeah.
it worked out because of the aggression that Yama Esports was giving up, and the fact that he was able to get his hands on to some of the kills from the side of Rayuga Esports for the final hits. It was definitely something that we did not see coming from a Nolan, especially in this kind of economy where the assassins are getting decreased quite a lot. But he
Yeah.
made it work. So you can just say that he does have his way around some assassins, which is quite peculiar to pick with, right?
Even if you had asked me if not the Joy, what other assassins he would go for, I would have told you
It would have
Amon
been a
or Amun.
Hanzo.
It would have been Hanzo or an Amun. Honestly, because Hanzo, yes, we have seen it before. Amon, because it's his passive works really well against the YSS. So those two heroes could have been the potential, in my head. But Nolan, like, it was so random. Like, you don't get to see that hero being picked off so often. And suddenly you pick it off, you just perform really good, and your team wins. Like, what else do you need?
Yeah, I mean, I would not have been surprised if he went for the Hanzo, but Nolan, I have seen him talk about it, but I did not expect him to put it to use. So, the respect ban that Team Rayuga Esports gave him kind of, gave him the, what do you call that? Excuse to use up that Nolan as well, but hey, they made it work out. I love Abyss TZ as well. He is really aggressive on those tanks like the Gatot Kacha and the Grok as well. It really suits his playstyle altogether. He gets that follow up from Yama Esports as well. So it is definitely working out for their side. And not to mention, I would not be giving that Kimi on to VO next time if I were in the team because that Kimi is just too much aggressive.
I mean, they were more focused on to banning towards banning the heroes of Rarin in this game, right? And the same could be said for Team Yama Esports as well. They were more keen on banning towards the heroes of Chocolate-chan. So both the teams are more focused on getting or securing a hyper or a jungler that can really give them more advantage. But they're really forgetting that sometimes it's not the hyper, the carry of the team, it's the main damage dealers. And for Wile, we do not see him, going so flashy heroes sometimes. But when he really plays those heroes that can deal damage from the back line, he can do a lot. We are talking about a Wile that can, be very much of a silent assassin or a silent carry of the team, right? And this is category that we are actually putting for the Kimi, because the Kimi's damage you do not see it until and unless your HP is already dropped down to the 10th of your HP, and then hey, it's like good night at that point, right? Because the damage keeps on hitting you. It's like not be coming at a single burst. It's like over time while you're doing your thing in the team fight, and your HP is just gone just like that. Hey, before
I
you
mean,
realize.
yeah, that's the issue of having a continuous damage dealer onto your side, right? You would wanna just be over with someone who deals that burst damage altogether, not someone who deals those continuous damage. It's just really hard to escape to as well, especially when you don't have those mobility skills onto your hands. It's just really hard. And the thing is, you can't even go near them because you don't have much of that farm onto yourself, so you can't really burst them back down. The only way that you are able to get back is to shield them or to have those itemizations as well. But the thing is, if you don't have enough farm, you won't be able to get those itemizations. So the best way should be to choke them down in the early game altogether, right? Which I think Rayuga Esports kind of underestimated Viol and his Kimi altogether into the early game. Next time, I just hope they do not make the same mistake.
Absolutely. I feel part of the reason could also be the reason that they were really so keen on actually, fighting a lot more than securing their farm, securing the level leads, securing their core items, because you could see throughout the game, Yama Esports, they had that goal lead maintained for their side, right? They were not really playing towards the other end where they had to, take charge and, get the goal lead back. It was more as if they were so consistent in just, farming and getting those items onto the core members. Because you could see at some point where I also mentioned the damage would exceed to the threshold that even the frontliners cannot really tank it down. And that did happen for Vishal, for Spicy, both of them. They were trying to soak it as much as they can. But overall, I think it was exceeding the point where they could not. But at the same time, I think this time the draft should be a bit different. I think they are more ready for each other, especially for Rayuga Esports, because this is match point, like you already mentioned. And if they lose here, they're directly getting eliminated from Mythic Showdown Season 2.
I would like to state one thing, that the first game, it was in Mumbai server, and this time it's in Bengal server, and Yama, they still have the first pick. So having the first pick gives them a bit of that advantage as well. But yes, we get a respect ban of Viol and his Kimi altogether. Just get her out of here, because you will not want to be dealing with all those continuous damages onto yourself, even if you have 3 or 4 sandbags onto your hands. So yes, that is one less problem to deal with. But then again, the Chocolate-chan, he won't be getting his comfort picks as well. So that is going to be Hayabusa into the ban, which leaves one last ban for the side of Rayuga Esports to go for, and they go for the Lapu, which I get it. He was quite a menace with all his various fighters and diving inside as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we did not really mention Dark enough, but it was like Dark as well as Toby doing the work together, right? Both of them were so in sync, even with Abyss TZ. He was making the wall, and then the team was so quick to respond back. And with all these heroes being banned from the previous game as well, we are looking at the Kimi as well as the Lapu Lapu. The Fredrin will be left open, something that Mr. Evie really loves to play around, right? And we are looking at the previous draft as well. This time, they will get that hero that is one of the most prio heroes for Evie. Is this a really good option for Team Rayuga Esports to actually open it up, then go for the Grok as well as the CC?
Honestly, it's a comfort for Eevee. But the thing is, they gave 3 comforts already for Yama Esports. Last time they were all banned out, but this time they decided not to take chances and have them banned out in the second phase once again. Yama, they're trying to end it in a 2-0. At least that is how I see it, because the banned heroes from the previous game are getting picked and repicked for the side of both the teams as well. Some are getting stolen, and as of now, the comforts are definitely in the hands of Yama Esports. But still, we can say that Rayuga Esports, they are still not quite far off ahead as well, because they have the backline, they have the Yuzhong once again. CC is gonna be a bit of a menace as well. So it would be the Grog and his tech charge once again that is gonna be initiating, but they have to be more aggressive than Yama Esports did in the last game.
I totally agree, and with all these frontliners being available, they still needs to mark the backline as well. So yes, the Black Dragon can go to the backlines and deal the damage, but with those 2 assassins being banned as well, I think Chocolate-chan would be even forced to play something completely different this time around. The YSS is also taken off the table, so I think the only other option that he can actually go for would be the Joy, but then again the Fredrin is available from the other side, so the Joy can actually get counted up, and one more mage being back. With this, I would say 4-5 mid laners have already been taken off. So what does this leave behind? Okay. So this is the new buffed hero, but we haven't seen it so much. But this hero can be very easily walked on in the early game, but a hero you would not really want to undermine in the late game, isn't it?
Yeah, Xavier is definitely someone that is quite underrated. But the thing is, Rayuga Esports, they are still quite leaning towards the late game damage once again, which might be a bit of issue for their side. But wait,
What?
that is a Cyclops getting picked out of all the mages. Cyclops, okay, two underrated mages out there giving their debut. It seems like Yama Esports, they have their plan to have the underrated benched heroes up onto their sleeve. I don't think we have seen him play the Cyclops, but we have to say when the Cyclops gets picked up, because of his cooldown, really short cooldowns, it's just him that's gonna be spamming out all those, skills altogether.
But Zebo, this is a tournament game. This is not a ranked game. Like, I have no hate towards Cyclops, but he's paired up against a Yuzhong, against a Fan, against a Grok. Like, what are you thinking when you're picking up the Cyclops in this time of in this? Because yes, it does work. It has immense damage, but it is very item dependent. Another slow hero to begin with in the early game, right? So I still can't comprehend the idea behind this pick. But at the same time, if it works, it works. Team Yama Esports, they are making anything and everything work for the previous game. So let's see if they can actually even go for another same feat, right?
Oh my goodness. Anything and everything. Oh my goodness. What is happening right now? But apart from that, the Alpha and the Fredrin are quite a well match as well, because he does deal those 2 damages. And the drop is quite balanced out. With that, they do have all this aggression on their side. And still, Granger matching up against that CC is quite well matched as well. So it will depend on the execution by now. So Shinru, take us through the second match once again.
Yes, the first game was over. The second game awaits. Now the time comes if Yama Esports can pave the way for that, 1-2 bracket, or will Rayuga Esports draw it down? We'll see, gentlemen, as it happens. This is the game number 2 in the second match of the evening, and already you can see the pressure from the mid duo of Rayuga Esports pulling it off on towards Yama Esports. They have to just back down a little bit. It's still not too much lost. The Revitalize, though, being used up early on. It's just a minute cooldown, so it should be available for the second turtle, first turtle.
Yep, definitely. Using the resources carefully is something that you should be doing as of now. But the fact that the roamer is onto the side of EXP this time, helping them out, it's gonna be a bit of a trouble, given that it's an Alot against a Yuzhong altogether. But Priority Emblem, there's not much of a difference that we can see. It's just the basic emblem sets that we usually see out around throughout the whole game, right? So apart from that, for Rayuga Esports to have this second game in their hands, they would want to choke down on that Fredrin and also not let Toby get that farm. But altogether, early game in the hands of Vishal at this time.
Yeah, I mean, most of the time, if you look at the map, the Dragon will have that early game priority onto the laning phase. It's always not going to be very easy to go against. And Dark, he's really careful. He has not given a free kill so far, but again, the turtle is up. Obviously, he's in the vicinity. Last game, he stole the first turtle. This time, can he perform a same feat? Again, the turtle fight will be there. The knock up there, but Rishal is really low, able to walk out, but the turtle is low as well. Obviously, he's in the vicinity. Already, the retribution is gonna be Eevee finding the retribution, but again, Rayuga Esports might be in trouble. They are this time drawn down by Violet.
Ooh, first blood and a flicker wasted out in the hands of Ray altogether. So really great start for the side of both the teams. And Kevinator, he's already spamming all of his dawning lights altogether. So Viol, he's gonna be forced to retreat quite a lot. But the fact that this time both teams are not backing down is definitely something that they need to be keeping their hands on. And since all of them have already reached the level 4 mark, they are gonna be having a bit more brawl than we see in the early game. But as of now, tech charge.
Oh, do you want to go in? This out. Okay, the Unbreakable was definitely there, but up top though, Dark is in trouble. Gets his save to the safer side of the map. But again, we are talking about the laning phase as well. So early game, yes, Dark did lose it out. I think from here on, he can actually lane it pretty easily, unless and until there's somebody else helping out. Vishal, of course. But apart from that, I think the laning phases are very, very peaceful for this game so far. Again, mid lane though, the taunt on towards Ray, low on HP, but should be able to get back. But I want you to anticipate one thing. Which side would scale faster for this draft? Because both the sides are scaling for sure, right? But which one actually scales faster?
Honestly, I think it's gonna be Yama Esports that's gonna be scaling a bit faster. Once they get their core items all together, you would not guess which what time they have their itemizations up all together. So maybe that, but Toby,
Oi, he's in
oh my,
trouble. Can he survive?
no, he
Oh,
does not. Gets taken out in the hands of Chocolate Chan though. That is another kill, and Ray would be falling down as well. 2 for 2 so far. Not much aggression, but still not much of a team fight dished out as well. It's time for the turtle, and Yama Esports are already on their way. Would Rayuga Esports contest that? Because Chocolate Chan is nowhere near the turtle. Seems like they would be dropping the neutral objectives once again.
yeah, pretty easily taken down without even using the retribution. So 2 objectives secured from the side of Team Yama Esports, giving them that slight lead that they will have in the early game. But at the same time, Vishal gets engaged on, uses the Black Dragon to get out, but Dark still adamant onto getting that kill secured. Wanted to go in, but did not have his pass triggered, so he has to wait on that part. But talking about items, gonna be Topi actually securing his Thigh Piercer already, waiting for his Hunter Strike. But again, the rest of the team also slowly but surely getting somewhere close to completing their item. But main thing is that, both Spicy as well as Chocolate Chan has completed their War Axe, meaning the frontliners can get some damage pretty easily. Final Slash.
Final Slash coming in. Ray would be getting taken down and has of Toby donning light just to clear out the minions. But still, a stack onto the Sky Piercer for Toby. So the more he gets, the more aggressive that Toby's gonna be. And you've given him his comfort hero, so you have to watch him out. And it's an alpha, he can really dive inside onto the back line since he's not technically an assassin. They have to rely on Yuzhong to get their hands on the Toby. But top lane, right, they are trying to push a bit more pressure onto their side as well. Gold ranking, of course, it's gonna be Toby, but 2-man final slash coming in, although that is a spare of I used to get away as well. Quite unnecessary, but I guess that is a good resource wasted out.
Absolutely, no, he was in trouble, but then he brought the trouble towards his opponent. That's what he did. Hey, just something a bit off topic. This ultimate, the planetary movement from AOG comes in.
Okay, AOG catching Ray once again. Toby getting the kill this time. He would be getting the double kill. Might be going for the triple kill. Last hit, definitely yes. And Chocolate Chan would be getting that is 40 stacks on the Sky Piercer on Toby already. Under 7 minutes into the game. So see what I've been telling you, Shindru. It's gonna be Yama Esports. It's gonna be scaling faster.
Yeah, I mean, just one thing off topic though. The planetary movement, the ultimate from Cyclops, it looks so much like the Selena's strap. That is difficult to distinguish between those two, right? And every time it hits, I'm like, oh wait, where is the Selena straps coming from? But then you just have to wake it out. But Evie might be in trouble.
Oh, he gets away though with 0.5 HP. Ray once again getting caught up too much actually. Abyss Cheesy though would be getting taken down while trying to save Viol out there. But Ray, he's fallen down already 4 times. That too in the hands of Toby. Every single time he has gotten his hands on with that Sky Piercer as well. So he's melting out quite a lot, and with all those snowballing that he has in his hands, it's gonna be hard for Rayuga Esports to have a comeback altogether.
Absolutely, and the more stacks Toby get, the better for him, and more easier for Yama Esports altogether. Because Grandeur is one of those heroes that can really abuse the Sky Piercer stack a lot more because of the range that he has, the damage scaling that he can actually get. And with this, he just picked up the Malefic Roar, meaning that the penetration will be getting through the opponents. And even though they have used the Conceal Rayuga Esports, they're not really daring to actually just go for another engage because they know they do not have the luxury of the gold. Once again, it's in the hands of Team Yama Esports, and with this kind of lead, they can actually punish even the frontliners. And because of that, Ray has to play passively. The scaling for the mid laner into the mid to late game. And he just got his first item locked in for Kevenator. He's still a long way to go before he can, give that game changing damage. But it's all for that, time buying duration that this team has to play for Rayuga Esports. Their main objective would be just buying some time, slow this game down, wait for their items, wait for that scaling to be done properly, and for Yama Esports to make those mistakes. But so far, we're not looking for many mistakes being done from their end.
Yeah, definitely. The only mistake would be to underestimate Rayuga Esports on their damages when they get those items spike altogether. The only way would be for Rayuga Esports to wait on Kevinator and his damage spike, which is looking a bit far for their side as well. Since the Lord is already up, the contest won't be there. Yama Esports will be taking it out all for themselves, and the last hit would be going to Toby, which means he's gonna be getting more stacks onto his bullets all together. But we get an AOG on the back line. Chocolate-chan getting taken out in hands, and monster kill secured by Toby once again, revitalized to help him get back on his feet. For now, Lord marching in onto the mid lane as well. But look at the amount of planetary movement that Viol is dishing out altogether. Just too much spam, because he has the cooldown build onto himself, and that Cyclops is just getting more and more annoying as time passes.
I mean, every time they want to dish out the damage, they can get the CC combined. But again, mid lane, the Lord will get cleared out even before it takes down the inhibitor. I think Yama Esports, they still have to wait for, taking down the inhibitors with the holy defenses being down. This is a good sign for them. But again, Rayuga Esports, the clock is ticking for them. They need to find the damage that is necessary. If you take a look at the items for least the main damage dealer, Chocolate-chan, he's just 2 items in, and he's going for a defensive one this time. And for Tor, okay, they wanted to take another engage, but the holy defense will just neutralize this situation. But main thing is the damage on towards both the Spicy as well as Kevenator. They're really behind. They need at least 3-4 items before they can dish out the damage. But for Toby, it's a very good game, right? He's waiting for the BOD. And after that, I think the damage scaling will be some different.
Having a BOD is a really expensive item, so you can tell that he already has a lot of farm in his hands, and it's just gonna keep on stacking up more and more. He gets a BOD, so those penetrations, those physicals are gonna be hitting a lot more. Not to mention that the Sky Piercer is at a 60. Almost 60 stacks, 57 or something if I have to say, onto their side. So they have to be really careful. But then again, Eevee and Dark and Abyss TZ, they are all in the front line. And Rayuga Esports, they can't really go for the dive anymore since they do not have those economy lead onto their hands. But it's gonna be hard for them as well since they only have their inhibitors left out. But Dark, would they want to go for an engage right now? I hope not, because the Lord is about to spawn in 25 seconds as well.
I think the best course of action would be just to wait a little bit longer, because yes, they have the damage. And one more thing they need to do is just freeze the lanes, because they are giving a lot of free gold to Rayuga Esports with those waves crashing down towards their base side or the inhibitors, because the more gold they get, the more damage they will have. And this is clearing the waves for nothing at the point where the Lord has not even spawned. Yes, the Lord will spawn right now, so right now is currently is the best choice for them to clear the waves. But again, they need to be wary of the fact that Kevenator, if his damage scaling is getting there close enough, it's gonna be hurting a lot more for them. And I think for Rayuga Esports, they can hold on to their inhibitors, they can perform another defense, but the question is, how fast can they clear the waves? Because the only person who can clear the wave fast would be Kevenator. Apart from him, I'm looking at too many people that can actually do the same thing, right?
Yeah, definitely. And the thing was, the same scenario happened in the last match as well. But Yama is supposed to kind of force it out, but godlike for Toby out here. Look at the amount of damage that he's dishing out. Chocolate-chan has to use his Spare of Alpha defensively to get away, but Eevee, he might be committing a bit too much. He does have his escape skill, so he will be getting away. Lord into the mid lane, and his passive getting used up as well. Mid lane is definitely exposed, but Legendary in the hands of Toby. Ray gets taken down, and Dark out here trying to move his final slashes altogether, but double kill secured. And once again, Chocolate-chan would be falling down. Triple kill in the hands of Toby Eevee. Getting shut down, but too late as Yama Esports, they get a 2-0 against Rayuga.
That was again the same story repeated. The dominance was there. They perfectly played that game and they were control of the game, to be honest. That, the conversion rates from those hills to those objectives, from objectives through those, base to the slot. And even for, just prioritizing the farm, especially for Toby this time, had been the main objective for Team Yama Esports. Because you could see, last game it was YLA and this time it was Toby who could, deal the game-changing damage, because they know who who has the damage into these games and who can perform the best into the late game. And I think giving the kills, giving the stacks to Toby was the best course of action for Yama Esports, because you could see it was so easy for them to just burst down even the frontliners. Like Ray, he was there, he was not, before he could even blink. And for YLA, I think he was doing a very good job with those stuns, with those, additional damage that he gave. But hey, he's the man for this game.
Yep, it's gonna be Toby. I mean, the previous match, it was Viol. They were able to trick Rayuga Esports into thinking that he might be the main carry, but then boom, you open up his Granger, he gets the carry onto himself. Now he is the carry. I mean, Yama Esports, they have their way of playing mind games all together, right? And the fact that the Cyclops worked out, it's still something that we are wondering, because of the cooldown reduction that they have. It was just almost that he was just spamming it out to help Toby secure all those kills, and he already had full build in his hands before the 13-minute mark onto himself. That just proves quite a lot. 12k, right? 12k is too much, given that Rayuga Esports, they were not able to get that farm onto themselves as well. But I would say Raren on that Fredrine as well is not something that you should be kidding, because when he gets that Fredrine, he just becomes a completely different person. He's just too aggressive, he doesn't really think around much, and surprisingly it also works out.
Absolutely, I think it's more about the taunts and the crowd control that he can actually provide to the team fights. And if you have enough stack onto your Fredrin, along with the damage that you've taken, if your HP is really low, you can just give that big bonk that can reduce the HP so much more. And especially like you mentioned, the stuns from YLA was the main factor into winning the team fights, because yes, they had the unbreakable taunt from Vizta as well, but if we talk about the goal from Toby, it was almost double of Chocolate-chan, almost double of Spicy as well. So that's how much, that's how free farming he was in this game, and because of him the team was definitely having so much of an advantage. As you can see, the head-to-head battle as well, I think Team Yama Esports, they completely won out on most of the laning that they actually played for, and even same like how they actually went for even the fact that those 5v5s, they had so much control into winning those team fights.
I love the fact that Yama Esports in these two games, they kind of played quite differently, especially Raren on that Nolan and that Fredrine all together, right? So the thing was, in the early game, he was just farming around because he was not able to deal much damage as much because he did not have his itemizations altogether. But in the second game, it was him being kind of the sandbag, kind of the front line altogether as well. So two kind of different play styles coming in, but same result fetched out by Yama Esports, especially when it came to the final Lord on to their side. It was the same situation that Rayuga Esports faced, and they were not able to counter it out once again.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think rather than giving priority to Vishal onto the Black Dragon, I think they should have prioritized the heroes of Chocolate-chan in this. Like, he was left to pick in this last half of the drafting phase, because of which he did not have much options to pick from. All his heroes were banned. Like, there were so many that were getting banned, and even the Xbox was banned. So there were very few options to actually go for. And I would say going for the Alpha is not the best hero that you can. And I think it kind of backfired on the side of Team Rayuga Esports altogether, because yes, YLA went for the Cyclops, which we not see much in the competitive scene, of course, but if your rest of the players have that winning lane or winning matchup, work somehow or the other. But for Vishal, he did not have that winning lane. He had to go against a Fredrin, and it's very difficult in this meta to go against a Fredrin with a nerfed, I would say.
Yep. I mean, the only time he was dominating his lane was in the early, and after the first turtle, he was just falling back, right? He was not able to dive onto the back line as well as much as needed, which was pretty much needed to shut down on that Toby and the Cyclops all to get a Viol and Toby both. So he was not able to get his time to shine as well, which is quite a pity. But hey, it was quite a fun match though to see those those unexpected picks from Yama Esports.
Absolutely. I think we are in for more surprise. For now, Yama Esports was still surviving the raging thunders of this Mythic Showdown Season 2. They are not eliminated yet, but they're still very close from getting eliminated. They are in the 1-2 bracket, and for Rayuga Esports, their journey has to stop here. Unfortunately, they will be eliminated from the Mythic Showdown Season 2, but they were really amazing. They were going toe-to-toe against some of those, really high-tier teams of the Mythic leaderboards, and still they were performing this game. Yes, they were not really able to get their grabs completely, but regardless, they had shown as an incredible run, incredible performance. It might not be what they were expecting, but hey, at least they were part of this. At least they made it to the top 16, which really matters. And I would say for that, really they should be proud of themselves. Just a little bit of work here and there, a bit of Turks, and they will be good to go for the future tournaments. But with this, ladies and gentlemen, I think we will be coming to an end for tonight. The games are over. The 0-2 brackets are over. Two teams emerged victorious today. That is going to be Daku, Sena, and Yama Esports. And two teams had to cut short their journey. It's going to be Inheaven, and I think it's Rayuga Esports, isn't it, Zevo?
Yep. But it's not the end for them. We'll see them around throughout the other tournaments, right? So it's not going to be a heartbreak. But, it's a little bit heartbreaking to see. But still, there's nothing that can be done. Because in this fight for the ultimate, you have to beat everyone if you want to be on the top. So this is how life goes, right?
Yep. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, some heartbreaks will be there, some upsets will be there. There are some happy teams as well. So we have to end it for right now, and we have to take our leave for today. And tomorrow there will be more games. Do keep updated with the War Drum Instagram page, with the official channels on WhatsApp and even on the YouTube. Always update. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we have hit the 5K subscribers goal, so there will be some giveaways. So stay updated for that on the Discord as well. If you do not have the link to that, if you do not have the the ways to reach that, you can check the comment section, not the comment section, the description box, or even the YouTube channel itself. So all those things will be available. But for now, Zevo, we have to take our leave. It's the end for us. It was a happy moment for us to be here casting, but every good thing has to end. And we'll be back tomorrow again, ladies and gentlemen. So do stay tuned, do follow, do like War Drum Esports, and we'll see you again tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen.